Hi, I'm Amy. I'm a BACP accredited psychotherapist, and today I'd love to talk to you about how having an emotionally immature parent can impact a child's emotional development and well-being. And we're also going to talk about the long-term consequences of having an emotionally immature parent, including some practical examples of how these can manifest in adulthood. Having an emotionally immature parent can significantly shape a child's emotional development, well-being, and ultimately how they navigate life as adults. When we talk about emotional immaturity in a parent, we're referring to behaviours that often involve self-centeredness, unpredictable reactions, a limited capacity to validate others' emotions, and an inability to manage their own feelings constructively. Growing up with a parent like this often means that a child's emotional needs take a back seat, as the parent is usually focused on their own experiences, struggles, or desires. Over time, this environment can lead to specific emotional and psychological patterns that deeply influence the child's adult life. Children are inherently wired to seek validation, empathy, and security from their parents. Parents' role is not just about meeting basic physical needs, but also about helping a child develop a healthy, resilient sense of self. When a parent is emotionally immature, this need for validation or security often goes unmet. Children may find themselves in situations where they have to navigate their own emotions independently without the steady presence of a parent who can model healthy emotional responses with them. For example, if a child is upset or frustrated, an emotionally immature parent might react with irritation or impatience instead of empathy. Rather than comforting the child, the parent might brush off their feelings as an overreaction or shift the focus back to themselves, saying something like, "You think you have it tough? In my day, X, Y, and Z." Over time, the child learns that their emotions aren't safe to express and that seeking support can lead to dismissal or frustration. This type of environment can disrupt the child's emotional development in a few significant ways. Firstly, emotional immaturity in a parent often leads to an inconsistency where the parent's responses are unpredictable and often based on their own mood or stress levels rather than the child's needs. This inconsistency can create an insecure attachment where the child grows up feeling unsure about whether they can trust others to be there for them. Insecurely attached children may develop anxieties around relationships, either fearing abandonment or feeling uncomfortable with closeness and vulnerability. Secondly, the child might have difficulty with emotional regulation. Emotional regulation is something we learn largely through modelling, i.e., observing how others handle stress, disappointment, or frustration. With an emotionally immature parent, children are often exposed to erratic or extreme emotional responses, and they don't learn healthy ways to manage their own feelings. They might either internalise their emotions, becoming overly self-reliant and afraid to express themselves, or develop heightened reactions mirroring the volatility they observed growing up. Thirdly, children of emotionally immature parents may grow up feeling inadequate or unworthy, as their needs and feelings were consistently minimised or invalidated. They often internalise the belief that their feelings don't matter, or worse, that they are too much or not enough, and sometimes both of these things at the same time. This self-perception can lead to low self-esteem, and they might approach life and relationships with a sense of insecurity, always questioning their worth. The emotional imprint left by an immature parent doesn't just vanish once a child grows up. Often, it carries into adult life, influencing how they relate to themselves and others, approach challenges, and handle stress. Some of the longer-term consequences of having an emotionally immature parent include people-pleasing, fear of abandonment, and difficulty in trusting others. So, let's get into that. People-pleasing. Because children of emotionally immature parents often learn to prioritise the parent's needs, they may grow up with a tendency to people-please. They might find it challenging to set boundaries, fearing that asserting their own needs will lead to rejection or disappointment. This people-pleasing tendency often comes at the expense of their own well-being, as they habitually put others first, sometimes even sacrificing their own goals, values, and desires to do so. Fear of rejection. Inconsistent or dismissive parenting can create a deep fear of rejection. As adults, these individuals may be overly sensitive to any hint of abandonment or disapproval, often perceiving it even when it isn't there. This fear can show up in relationships as jealousy, clinginess, or constant reassurance seeking. They might worry that any conflict or mistake will lead to rejection, which can make it hard to be fully authentic in their relationships. Difficulty with trust. Growing up with an emotionally unreliable parent can lead to trust issues. As adults, they might find it hard to open up to others, fearing that they will be let down or dismissed. This hesitancy to be vulnerable can hinder deep, meaningful connections, as they may hold back their true thoughts and feelings, worried about being judged or misunderstood. Challenges in emotional regulation. Without a solid foundation in emotional regulation, adults from these backgrounds may either overreact or underreact in emotional situations. For example, they may feel overwhelmed by relatively minor stresses or avoid addressing their feelings altogether. This can lead to tension in relationships, as their partner or friends may struggle to understand their seemingly disproportionate emotional responses or their reluctance to express themselves. Hyper-independence or becoming overly dependent. Some individuals respond to an emotionally immature parent by becoming hyper-independent, convinced that they can't rely on others and must handle everything on their own. This self-sufficiency may serve them in some areas of life, but can become an obstacle in relationships where they might struggle to let others in or ask for help. On the other hand, some may develop a dependency on others, constantly seeking validation or support as they never felt adequately supported or valued growing up. All of these are ways of protecting yourself from being hurt again. So how might this look in different situations? In romantic relationships, someone with an emotionally immature parent may either over-rely on their partner for validation or struggle to feel secure even when their partner is supportive. They might feel anxious or worry that their partner will leave, leading to clinginess or jealousy. Alternatively, they could avoid commitment or shy away from deeper intimacy, feeling uncomfortable with the vulnerability. In friendships, this individual might overextend themselves, often going out of their way to help others, but hesitating to ask for help in return. They may feel that they have to earn their friends' affection or worry that they'll be judged for having their own needs. In some cases, they might feel resentful for always being the one to give, yet struggle to communicate this for fear of causing any conflict. In the workplace, these individuals may struggle with constructive criticism, seeing it as a personal failure rather than an opportunity for growth. They might also avoid taking risks or voicing ideas, fearing that making a mistake will lead to rejection or ridicule. Alternatively, they could take on too much work, afraid to say no or set boundaries, worrying that asserting themselves might upset their colleagues or supervisors. Hi, my name's Amy Launder and I am an accredited psychotherapist. I specialise in supporting individuals who have been impacted by emotionally immature people, whether that is parents, partners, ex-partners or anyone else. You can find me at amylaunder_therapy on social media, or my website is amylaunder.com. I've just spent the day filming with Mind Friend, and stay tuned.